Steve Harvey telling people he used to be homeless. What are you talking about? That's my story. Steve Harvey wasn't never homeless. Mark Curry was touring with him 25 years ago. He was making $3,000 a show in cash and doing 5 shows a week.
What was so crazy is me and Katt, when people see that scene in Friday After Next, look, you turn the sound down, it ain't a comedy.
Right.
We was crying. We was deep. They was so in it. He was crying, I was crying. People were sitting by the monitors like, what are we looking at right now? Katt was homeless at the time. So Katt was living in his trailer.
They just tell the stories. Thanks to my wife, I'm where I am. You said that about the first wife. You forget that? You told us it was her. Then you went and married somebody else that think like a man. Like, what are you talking about? They think they can rewrite history.
I didn't get into comedy till I was 27. I was homeless. I lived in a car for 3 years, man. I don't want to say lucky. I am the most blessed man.
To this day, I don't think Steve ever knows why I quit his show. Some people don't know this. When Steve Harvey had the talk show, the Steve Harvey Show, he left Chicago and he moved it to LA. I remember I went on his show. First, I went on Steve's show to promote my reality show. And then afterwards, Steve goes, yo, I want to do some stuff with you, man. I want to work with you on some stuff. And I was like, all right. And then I'll never he hit my chest. Like, I'm going to show you how to make some money, boy. I was like, all right, show me. And then I flew to Atlanta. I met with Steve when he was filming Family Feud. We sat down in his trailer. We talked. He's like, yeah, we're going to work this deal out. I'm going to bring you on as my sidekick. We're moving my show from Chicago to LA. And I was like, dope. I was excited, man. And I thought it was going to be like Johnny Carson, Ed McMahon type thing. I thought that's what this was about.
So what's up with you and Steve, man? Ain't nothing with me. Well, Steve stole my material on his show, so I had a beef on that. On what show? When he was on the bullshit talk show he had, and he did all my Halloween material one Halloween. I'm watching that. Somebody called me and said, man, homeboy doing your material. So he did my whole Halloween run. And I know he didn't think of it. This is true stuff that really happened to me. And so my thing is, you didn't have to do that.
I'm gonna send us down to the liquor store, put boxes on us.
Motherfucker, you made enough money, bitch ass.
We didn't know what we were.
I don't know what we are. I don't know. She didn't tell us. I think we UPS, I guess. I don't know.
That every Halloween, I had the same outfit on. Every year. I just had a brown box. I wasn't nothing sad. And I asked my father, could I have a new outfit? And he said, no, just wear the same one. It was just a brown box. And he just told me to tell everybody I was a UPS.
Side of him. I think he's still that same Steve. He's still that. But now you're also seeing another side of him that he never had to show.
Telling people you work with, I don't want you even to be next to me. Like, I have such disdain for you that I'm annoyed by your presence.
His TV talk show.
Okay, this was the one he had on NBC just recently.
Whatever, yeah.
Okay.
The one that damn, who took his show from him?
Kelly Clarkson.
How can Kelly Clarkson take your show?
I heard you go on the air and you said, my sister done burnt too many bridges and there's nothing I can do for her now. Steve, do you know how hurt
Steve Harvey didn't just rise to the top of comedy. Some people say he bulldozed his way up there. That's what more and more comedians are claiming now, because the laughs have faded and the real talk is starting to spill out.
By the way, this is the same guy who rails against people who don't believe in his particular voodoo.
Right? Against gay people.
Against gay people, against Asian.
According to a few of Steve's own peers, his climb wasn't all smooth and righteous. Behind the sharp suits, bright smiles, and Sunday-style motivation, they say there were burned bridges, borrowed punchlines, and quiet industry moves that left folks feeling played. For years, nobody dared to speak on it.
You know, my thing with Steve Harvey is that he used my material on both his platforms.
Yeah.
After I talked to him, I saw him at Def Jam, I went up and talked to him, I said, man, you're using my material.
But now they are stepping up, and the story they're telling. It's not the polished version Steve's been pushing. Let's break it down. Steve Harvey is a giant in comedy and television. The man went from grinding on small stand-up stages to hosting Family Feud, Miss Universe, The Steve Harvey Show, and handing out life advice like he's leading a packed church on Sunday. He built an empire. Talk shows, radio, books, podcasts, the whole package. Steve became the blueprint for turning struggle into serious success. From sleeping in his car to building a massive brand, it looks like pure hustle and faith paid off big time. But here's where it gets tricky.
Steve Harvey telling people he used to be homeless. What are you talking about? That's my story. Steve Harvey wasn't never homeless. Mark Curry was touring with him 25 years ago. He was making $3,000 a show in cash and doing 5 shows a week. They just tell the stories. Thanks to my wife, I'm where I am. You said that about the first wife. You forget that? You told us it was her. Then you went and married somebody else that think like a man. Like, what are you talking about? They think they can rewrite history.
Some of the people who knew him before the fame say the Steve Harvey we see on TV today isn't the same guy they remember from the grind. They're saying the image changed, the loyalty shifted, and the journey to the top wasn't as clean as it looked. Let's spin it back to the 1980s and 1990s, the golden era of stand-up comedy. Back then, Steve Harvey was just another hungry comic chasing stage time and praying for that big break.
Bernie said in the GQ article that when he got Ocean's 11, Steve had reached out to the producers and said he thought he would be a better fit and tried to get the part and blah, blah, blah. And that was,
He was sharp, confident, and grinding hard, but so were hundreds of other black comedians running the same club circuit from Chicago spots to Atlanta open mics. Cats like Mark Curry, D.L. Hughley, Katt Williams, Monique, Cedric the Entertainer, and Bernie Mac were all putting in pain, earning stripes one punchline at a time.
Comedians don't appreciate their jokes being stolen, and Steve Harvey has rubbed several comedians the wrong way. Well, it looks like Harvey has found himself in some trouble.
No Halloween costume. I think we UPS, I guess. I don't know.
You've heard me say that every Halloween I had the same outfit on. I just had a brown box. And he just told me to tell everybody I was the UPS man.
My material on his show, so I had a beef on that.
On what show?
When he was on the bullshit talk show he had, and he did all my Halloween material one Halloween.
Says he knows that Steve Harvey stole his Halloween bit because it was a personal story. He was talking about himself growing up.
This cat is hot. Please put your hands together for Katt Williams.
Saying you are not supposed to be at the gas station making life decisions.
Can't even pump gas like you used to no more.
If you put $15 in your tank, you had time to bond with your vehicle. You had time to put the nozzle in and
put the nozzle in there and hit it.
Set the clicker and look through your car and clean off the dashboard and
be sitting there talking, be on your phone. Hey, what's happening? Be walking around, cleaning the windshield.
Run in the store, get some Pringles and a Snapper, and it'll still be pumping.
Okay, you go in there, bring me a wine cooler. Bring me a cooler, dog. Not no more.
You can't even turn around good for that son of a bitch click. Just soon as you put it in, just click, click.
Get in there and start it up, and you can't believe that damn needle is a quarter tank of gas.
Then you asked it, why you not a movie star? I didn't want to be a movie star. This the same Negro that hated on Bernie with this same thing. I didn't want to be a movie star. No, you couldn't be a movie star. There are 30,000 new scripts in Hollywood every year. Not one of them asks for a country bumpkin black dude that can't talk good Oba-Kaby and look like Mr. Potato Head. There ain't none. You would have to have range. I played a lot of characters, 60 movie roles. I'm not playing Katt Williams in there.
I don't know, Katt. We might not let you drink anymore the way I mean, we ain't even got.
You mean to tell me if Steve Harvey, your favorite comedian, you mean you've been waiting for him to do stand-up for 15 years now? He stopped stand-up because he got in a comedy battle called the Championship of Stand-Up Comedy with one Katt Williams in Detroit in front of 10,000 people and lost because Katt Williams said he was actually bald and that was a wig.
Everybody respected the hustle, but more than that, they respected the code. And in comedy, there's one rule you do not break. You never take another comedian's material, ever. That's where the whispers around Steve start heating up. It's not just one random accusation either. It's a story that's followed him for years.
We going through something, we'll call each other because we feel for each other, because we know the real person.
Right, yeah.
I know they lying about you online. I know that podcast is bullshit. Hang in there, dog, don't pay no attention to that.
Yeah.
Because and look, man, just because you can talk smooth without saying it don't mean you ain't lying.
Right.
I be sitting up here looking at these podcasts of these other comedians that's going on talking about other comedians. Hold up, dog. Where did that shit come from? When did we become that? When did we get into tear each other down business? Because you ain't never heard me say not a disparaging remark against another comedian nowhere. You ain't heard him or him. Because we ain't cut from that cloth.
Right.
So what is your motive for doing this here? And you're not going to tear him down. And look, man, I got a real platform.
And one of the loudest voices speaking on it is Mark Curry, best known for starring in Hanging with Mr. Cooper. In a resurfaced interview, Mark didn't sugarcoat a thing. He said flat out, "Steve Harvey stole my whole routine." He claimed Steve took jokes he wrote, put them on TV, and moved like they were his own creation. That's a heavy charge in the comedy world, and once that word gets out, it sticks. That wasn't some random shot in the dark. Mark Curry said he watched it unfold with his own eyes.
Harvey is on his third marriage. His third wife was mistress to his second wife.
He got it. Everybody thinks Steve Harvey's some stand-up man. No, I'm a kiss the old girl who owned TV One. He used to kiss her. He had the radio show out.
It was hot. We had the Steve Harvey show, so we had a national TV show. Bernie Mac was the it comedian at the time, and then DL was hot. He had a TV. But the first year we did it, it was just me, Bernie, and Steve.
Right.
And Steve closed.
You did the first part, the second part.
I think, of course, that was, definitely a contributing circumstance, but also.
Like me, like Oprah, Tyler, Lee Daniels, and I gotta put my brother Steve on the list. Y'all knew I was not wrong.
Love every time, had him on my show every time. But if you're gonna do another stick, just tell the brother that you're sticking. Dog, I'm gonna be dogging you on.
He claimed when the Steve Harvey show premiered, he spotted full scenes, setups, and punchlines that felt word for word like his material. According to Mark, it wasn't coincidence. It was copy and paste. And that's a serious charge in a world where your jokes are your currency. Now, this wasn't the first time Steve Harvey faced whispers like that. Over the years, smaller comedians, some who opened for him, some who worked around him, murmured that he would hear an idea, clean it up, and flip it as his own. Most of those voices stayed low, but Mark, he turned the volume all the way up. He said, "It's one thing to be inspired by somebody, but when you steal a man's act, that's robbery. And in comedy, that kind of label sticks for life." What made it heavier was timing. When Mark tried to press the issue back then, nobody wanted to touch it. By that point, Steve wasn't just a comic. He was a full-blown brand, big suits, bigger smile, daytime TV crown, and industry power behind him. Few people wanted to challenge that machine, but Mark wasn't alone for long. Years later, Katt Williams stepped in swinging during an infamous interview. He said, "Steve Harvey ain't the king of comedy. He's the king of stealing jokes." Then he added that Steve built his career on Bernie Mac's back. That line cut deep because it wasn't just about punchlines, it was about loyalty. Remember, Steve, Bernie Mac, Cedric the Entertainer, and D.L. Hughley all starred in the original Kings of Comedy, a film that shifted the whole game for black comedians. And when you're part of something that iconic, any talk of betrayal hits even louder. It was supposed to be brotherhood, 4 comedians rising together, shining side by side, building something legendary. When Steve Harvey, Bernie Mac, Cedric the Entertainer, and D.L. Hughley teamed up, it looked like unity at its finest. But after Bernie Mac passed, the energy shifted. Rumors started circulating that Steve stepped deeper into that king title and embraced the spotlight fully. Some critics claimed he positioned himself as the face of the legacy while emotions were still raw. That's when the tension really started to grow. Katt Williams added fuel to the debate in interviews, saying Bernie was the people's champ, while Steve was the TV champ. He suggested Bernie never compromised his style, and that's why fans connected with him on a deeper level. Those words stuck. Suddenly, fans began revisiting old clips with fresh eyes, like Steve's appearance on Oprah Winfrey's show, where some viewers felt there was tension when Bernie's success came up. Or that moment when he told DL, "Some people ain't meant to be stars like me." At the time, it slid by, but now it hits different. When multiple voices like Katt, Mark Curry, and Monique start pointing in the same direction, people begin to question the narrative. Was it pure ambition or calculated moves? Even DL, one of Steve's longtime friends, admitted on a recent podcast, Steve knows how to survive in any room, but that don't mean everybody likes the way he do it. That wasn't praise, that was layered. He was describing a man who can talk one way with the streets and another way in executive offices, a master adapter, a smooth operator. And according to some comedians, that skill is exactly what made him powerful and unpredictable at the same time. See, the comedy world runs on authenticity. Real recognize real, that's the code. But Hollywood runs on survival, strategy, and knowing when to pivot. And Steve Harvey learned that lesson early. The talk around him says he understood one thing: if you want to last, you do what it takes, even if feelings get bruised along the way. One comic who worked with Steve in the early days claimed he would joke with you backstage, smile in your face, build that brother vibe. Then the next day he'd be in a meeting pitching ideas that sounded real familiar. That's the hustle, they say. That's how you level up from late night club gigs to primetime television slots. But that same grind might explain why, as Steve's star rose higher, some of his old comedy friendships faded out. Now, let's get into the most public fallout, the tension between Steve and Monique. When Monique began speaking openly about feeling pushed aside in Hollywood, Steve didn't stand with her the way many expected. Instead, he told her straight up, "You can't sacrifice money for integrity. This is the money game." That clip went everywhere. It showed the world exactly how he views the business. Calculated, practical, focused on the bag. For Monique, that moment cut deep. She saw Steve as a friend, a fellow comic, someone who came up the same way she did. But when the cameras were rolling and the pressure was on, she felt like he chose the industry over loyalty. And once that trust cracks in public, it's hard to ever fix it. When that moment with Monique played out, a lot of fans felt like Steve Harvey was siding with the same system she said pushed her out. And that's when people started connecting dots all over again. If he could distance himself from Monique on live TV, critics began asking, who else got left behind when the doors were closed? The wild part is, Steve has admitted in older interviews that his climb wasn't spotless. He once said, "I've done things I ain't proud of, but when you hungry, you eat what's in front of you." At first it sounded like motivation talk, just a metaphor about grinding. But once you hear other comedians describe him as hungry to a fault, that line starts to feel heavier. They paint him as ambitious, strategic, laser focused on winning, no matter who felt the impact along the way. And here's the reality. When you rise high, people remember the steps you took to get there. Years later, old clips are resurfacing. Stories are being retold. Interviews are getting replayed with new context. Slowly, some fans say they're noticing cracks in that polished image. Because now, the conversation isn't only about joke disputes, it's about transformation, about how fame, money, and power can reshape a person over time. This is the same Steve who often speaks about faith, family, and loyalty. At the same time, critics point to past relationship controversies and tough business decisions that reportedly strained friendships. Some peers claim deals were made that benefited him first. Whether that's sharp business or broken brotherhood depends on who you ask, but the debate is louder than ever. Even some former members of Steve Harvey's old radio circle have hinted they felt swapped out once the spotlight got brighter. According to them, Steve don't keep friends, he keeps opportunities. That's a tough line to hear, but in Hollywood, some say that mindset is survival mode. And here's the twist, no matter the criticism, Steve keeps stacking wins. Family Feud keeps pulling strong ratings. His books keep moving numbers. His motivational clips keep trending week after week. It's like the backlash just rolls off him. Smile, pray, secure the next deal. That seems to be the formula. He once said, "If people believe you're blessed, they'll forget what you did to get there." That quote hits different now because when you look at the empire, TV, publishing, speaking tours, it's hard to argue with the results. The brand is polished, the image is controlled, the wins are visible. But here's the bigger question. Can someone build that level of success while carrying unresolved tension behind the scenes? Steve remains one of the most praised and criticized figures in entertainment at the same time. Every year, it feels like another clip resurfaces, another interview gets replayed, another former associate speaks up saying, "That ain't the man y'all think he is." From conversations surrounding Bernie Mac's legacy to the public fallout with Monique to sharp comments from Katt Williams, his name keeps circling back whenever industry politics get discussed. Maybe that says more about the system than just one man, or maybe it says ambition at the highest level requires thick skin and calculated moves. At the end of the day, Steve Harvey might represent an uncomfortable truth about success. Sometimes talent isn't the only currency. Strategy matters, positioning matters, and in certain rooms, being nice isn't what keeps you there. Sometimes in this game, you gotta smile while you secure what's yours and just hope nobody's watching too close. Because in entertainment, it's not always the funniest person who wins. It's the sharpest one in the room. And whether you love him or question him, Steve Harvey has proven he knows how to play the long game. Like D.L. Hughley once said, just because you made it doesn't mean everybody clapping is happy for you. That line speaks volumes. Steve's rise might be legendary, but critics argue it didn't come without fallout. Some say friendships faded, trust cracked, respect shifted. And now, as more comedians speak up one by one, fans are left asking the big question. Did Steve build his empire brick by brick, or did he step over pieces that belonged to somebody else? Either way, the conversation is out in the open now. While Steve keeps expanding his brand and writing new chapters, the people from the early days are finally sharing their side. In comedy, timing is everything, but karma has its own schedule. So what do you think? Did Steve really climb that ladder through calculated moves and industry politics? Or is this just frustrated voices trying to dim a bright spotlight? The debate is real, and the opinions are split right down the middle. One thing's clear, the laughter helped build his name, but the silence around certain relationships is starting to speak louder than applause. And that's where the story gets interesting. If you rock with content that digs deeper and asks the real questions, make sure you subscribe to Dripzine right now. Hit that like button, share this video, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We read everything, and if you want to help a small creator grow, tap that hype, this video button, and show love. More real stories, more industry breakdowns, more unfiltered conversations coming soon. Stay locked in.